let's take a look at our top selections.
Two, one.
Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Let's throw up the field for race number 12 at the fairgrounds on Saturday, an early Kentucky Oaks prep. It's the $150,000 Silverbulletday Stakes. 3-year-old fillies going 1 mile and 70 yards. Mike, I think there are some very promising horses in this race, and they bookend the field. Super sensational, Sunpath.
I agree wholeheartedly, Dan. They both, at this stage of the game anyway, look like they could be anything. And I'll tell you what, the horses in between them in this field, not so bad either.
One of them, Little Stitious, could very well be the pace setter. As we take a look at the Timeform US pace projector, one of those promising horses in between is the 3, Charlie's Penny, who should show stretch out speed. She's been close to some quick and solid paces going short. I expect her to be out there close. Divine Comedy, gate to wire winner last time out for Brad Cox, will be on the lead. Little Stitious will be in stalking position as well. I expect this to be a fair pace.
Yeah, I agree. There are a few horses stretching out in this race, including, the horse down on the rail, who is probably going to be one of the favorites. So I think the pace should, if nothing else, be legitimate. And I don't feel like the closers really have anything to worry about.
Let's talk a little bit about the number 1, Super Sensational. Lots of questions for her to answer on Saturday. It'll be her first race on dirt, her first race around 2 turns, and her first race without Lasix. But the way she won over the Tapeta at Woodbine makes you think she's pretty good. Let's watch her second lifetime start. The Glorious Song Stakes going 7 furlongs, and she's just taken over into the stretch right now. And this is as easy as pie. 87 by her speed figure. She's won from off the pace in the past, and she's bred not just to be a synthetic horse. She's by Curlin. She's supposed to appreciate distance and dirt.
Yeah, there's a lot of distance and dirt on the bottom of her pedigree to go along with Curlin on the top. So I feel like that should be the least of your concerns. There's a layoff here to deal with, and first start around 2 turns. All those things could work against her, Dan, but she just looks like, off of her first 2 starts, she looks like she could be anything. I mean, she won those 2 races so easily. And in either one of those races, they could have just put her right on the lead and wired those fields, but they didn't do that. They wanted to see if she would sit behind in her debut, and she did. Last time in the Glorious Song, the pace just wasn't fast, so she just went up and sort of made all the running in there. But man, she looks really handy and really talented.
Interesting horses up next. The 2, Moon Swag, began her career at the Downs at Albuquerque, beat the boys in both of those starts, and then they ran her off a layoff at the fairgrounds and passed a couple of tired horses after a bad break. I thought she ran better than it looks on paper in there, and she is bred to go long. That dam was a Grade 2 stakes winner routing.
Yeah, she is bred for this. And, even though she really wasn't much of a factor last time when they, took her to the bigger track, she still earned a new career top figure. So she did take a little bit of a step forward. This is not an easy spot, Dan. She's going to have to really take another big step forward to contend here, but she's going to be a price.
Charlie's Penny, another horse stretching out. This one finished just ahead of Moon Swag last time out. Another horse that didn't have the greatest start that day. Ran into a pretty good sprinter in Joy's Rocket. I'm a little bit concerned about the extra distance for this one.
I'm worried about her stretching out as well, especially in this race. I mean, this just feels like a really strong field for this kind of a race. So we'll see what she does, but I'm not knocking any of her 4 races up to this point, Dan. I feel like she's run pretty well in all of them.
I think Minute Waltz might be a little bit of a sleeper in this race as well for Gabriel Saez and Phil Bauer. Nice debut win, I thought, coming from off the pace sprinting. Don't think she was embarrassed at all last time out. Wide, understandably flattened out. Faced a nice winner. A horse that came back to win a little stakes race at Remington Park with a 78 buyer. To me, this filly's upside. I think she handles 2 turns without an issue.
Agreed. I could have put her higher in my picks when we get to that part of this. I'm not going to have her in there, but I actually felt like her debut was pretty good. I like that effort from her. She ran fine last time.
Like Minute Waltz, Princess Theorem is by Kentucky Derby winner Nyquist, and she has a strong distance pedigree. The dam was a Grade 2 winner on turf. Princess Theorem herself is a half to Prince of Arabia, who was graded stakes placed routing, and Lady Kate, who was a stakes winner on dirt, and who I believe was second to Monomoy Girl in the La Troyenne last year. She's coming out of the Golden Rod, and in that race, she just didn't fire.
It was pretty disappointing. Listen, they were stepping her right up off of a maiden win that came in a race that was rained off the turf. So maybe you don't want to be too hard on her for that race, but she really didn't show all that much And again, breaking your maiden against some turf horses, I don't know how much credit I want to give her for that, but she earned a good figure for the maiden win.
Divine Comedy figures to take some money simply based on the connections. You've got Brad Cox, you've got Godolphin. This filly made her debut sprinting. She finished behind Little Stitious. They put Lasix on, and the Lasix had to help. The distance had to help, but she also had a nice, easy, uncontested lead that day, and I'm not sure that's available to her in this spot.
Yeah, we'll see if she can do it another way. She did really have all the best of it in that maiden win last time, but she also took a big step forward with the stretch out, which is what she's really bred to do. Yeah, she got loose on the lead, but she always traveled in that race. They tried to get to her on the second turn, and she really never let them even get a look at her in that race. She won very easily. That was the same day that her stablemate Sunpath broke her maiden over the same distance, and Sunpath's race was way faster.
Barista looks like a little bit of an overachiever, despite the fact that she has a really worthwhile pedigree by Medaglia d'Oro out of a Tappet mare, but she's won on turf. She's won from off the pace, and she's had to work to win those races.
Yeah, very, very game last time to just get up in a race that was reined off the turf. This is obviously a much tougher race, Dan. It's a race that's probably going to be run on a fast track in a race that's meant for dirt. So she's got an awful lot to prove, but I'm not knocking either of her last two starts.
Little Stitious has won 2 in a row, including this race. The My Trusty Cat at Delta Downs, 2 turns, 7 furlongs. Can't argue with this performance from Little Stitious, who pounds him in the final furlong, just drawing away with impunity to win by over 10 with an 80 buyer speed figure. That puts her right in the mix here. Now she's got to go a little bit farther. She does have some pedigree and some tactical speed. This will be a step up in class.
Yeah, she buried that field last time. That was a huge step forward. And when you watch that race, the way she went through the stretch there, it makes you feel like, going a little bit longer is not going to bother her at all. I wonder if this horse has been waiting to stretch out.
Sunpath's a full sister to Bonnie South, who did some very nice things last year as a 3-year-old filly. And her only issue is that she can be a little bit of a nutty buddy behind the gate. Sometimes she won't break. Sometimes she'll break through the gate before the start. Sometimes she'll break slow. It hasn't seemed to bother her in her last 2 races, especially last time out where she won by a country mile against only a field of 3 others.
Yeah, it was a short field, but again, that was the same day that her stablemate broke her maiden over the same distance. This race was way faster than that one. I mean, this filly looked really good winning that day. She also looked really good breaking her maiden 2 starts back from off the pace sprinting. I mean, to me, she ran really well in both of those races, Dan. I watch her run, and aside from all the antics that you mentioned where she can be a handful behind the gate, I just wonder when blinkers are going on, because it feels like she comes through the stretch, gawking at the stands the entire way down there. It doesn't bother her, though. She runs right through the wire. This filly looks good to me.
She may not be able to afford such antics, though, against this tougher field. We take a look at our top picks in this race, and we're both going to go with the Cassie Train Runner down towards the rail. Super Sensation. I'm just very impressed visually by her 2 races at Woodbine. She's shown the figs. It's a shame that her final start at Woodbine was canceled due to weather, so she's coming into this race off a little bit of layoff.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really like the way that she looked in her first 2 starts. Again, she has the pedigree to really relish everything she's getting here. The more distance, the dirt. She has speed from the inside draw. There's a lot to like about her, and it's just going to be very interesting to see what she does in this race.
1, 9, 6, and 7 for Mike. 1, 8, 9, and 7 for me. In the Silver Bullet Day, some promising 3-year-old fillies perhaps taking the first baby step on the road to the Kentucky Oaks. Good luck.